really cute pictures on the water. During that whole quarantine process. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another segment of Sadie Says It All. So, y'all know how I always say our guests are special, but when I tell you that our guest today is exceptionally special, and we'll get into all of the reasons as to why that's the case. Now, for those of you that are aware, maybe if you're not, April is Autism Awareness Month. And it's very important that we shine light on certain things that affect our community because it's often not, and even though it's Autism Awareness Month for everyone, it's autism awareness all day every day for those of us who are affected. Okay, so today our guest is Nadine Wright-Arbubakrr. Okay, Arbubakrr. Did I say that right, Nadine? I want to make sure.
You did.
Okay, all right, cool. Now, Nadine is the founder of Nassan's Place, all right? Now, Nassan's Place is a nonprofit organization that provides programs, educational programs, and recreational programs for those on the autism spectrum in underserved communities, all right? So help me welcome Nadine. Welcome. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sadie, for having me. I'm excited to have the conversation with you. Autism mom to autism mom, because we truly get it every single day. We live it.
Yes, we do. So now, Nadine, just so that everyone's familiar, where is it that you're located?
We're located in Essex County, New Jersey. People ask us, well, what city are you located in? Well, Nassan's Place is located in any city that will donate space to us so that we can provide the services and programs for the children and families that we serve. Um, we don't currently have our own facility, but we've been fortunate enough in 2019 to get a building donated to us by the mayor of the city of Newark, where I was born and raised. He saw the work that we were doing in the community and the impact of the work that we were doing and the need for us to eventually have our own place. And he donated a building. Our goal right now, it's an old building and it needs to be torn down. The goal is to tear it down and build a state-of-the-art autism center that will serve children no matter what their zip code is that are on the autism spectrum.
Okay, all right. Well, so you all can already see why I say how exceptional she is for her to have the mindset to, but we have a different motivation, for doing what it is that we do anyways. But for Nadine to actually put something in place that isn't just for her son, because that takes a lot of what we do anyway, as far as focusing on our child, but to actually focus on the entire community, that's a huge thing. Um, so we're going to get into everything that Nassan's Place has to offer and the different services that are provided. But first, if you could please, because Nassan's Place is named after your son, if you could tell us a little bit about Nassan.
Well, first of all, I am a proud mom of a 16-year-old nonverbal son on the autism spectrum, and he is my pride and my joy, and he's the inspiration for Nassan's Place. Um, when Nassan was diagnosed with autism almost 15 years ago, I couldn't find programs and resources in the community. First of all, I didn't even know what autism was. I
Right.
will tell you that autism changed my life. I changed my career path. It didn't stop me from living, though. I think it's very important for parents and caregivers and others to know we don't have to stop living. You're proof of that, Sadie. We just live differently, but we can still have our lives. But for me, getting that diagnosis and not even understanding what it
Oh, yeah.
was a little scary. And after doing a lot of research and finding out what it was, I was depressed. I cried literally every day. And then when I got over my pity, because I thought it was something I did, maybe I was too old when I had him, I was close to
Yeah.
40. So I started blaming myself. And then I had to snap up out of it because at the end of the day, my son needed help. and I had to figure out how to get him the help. And once I couldn't find those programs, I was like, wow, why isn't there programs in urban inner cities of Essex County? Because I lived in East Orange, New Jersey.
Mm.
Um, so I kept looking and I found programs, and they were in suburban communities. And I
Right.
had to really understand why. There's a couple of things that I think attributed to not having a lot of programs and services in the community in which I live. Number one, no one was talking about autism, especially in families of color.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think because of that stigma, you
Mhm.
know, we weren't getting the attention that was needed because, as you know, New
Mhm.
Jersey currently has the highest rate of autism in our country, the
Yeah.
highest, and the
Yeah.
least amount of resources are in urban inner cities. And that's, I believe, attributed to the stigma associated, and we don't want to acknowledge it or accept it. But once I saw that, and I said, you know what, I didn't want to be a part of the problem anymore. I didn't want to leave my community to get
Right.
services. I wanted to stay here. So I decided, it took 3 years. I decided to start a nonprofit so that I can help other families just like mine get the resources we needed right in our own community.
Yeah. And it's you make a very good point with that. What I found in urban communities is that there is like this whole shame of it, it seemed to be, um, where no one wanted to admit that there was, you know, s- there was, in their wording, something wrong, quote unquote, wrong with their child, you know? And I'm like, but in the meanwhile, your child, you could be helping them, and doing, you need to focus on what it is that's going to get them to where they need to be, and not what you think is going to be shame. And yeah, I've found that a lot in the urban communities, because I would hold events, and a lot of times the events, it was there may have been two or three, maybe a handful of people of color there, or black people, I will say, but not many, not many at all. So yeah, I think a lot of it came with, a lot of that comes with people just not wanting to, admit that there is something that, could be, quote unquote, wrong with their child.
Yeah,
But
and I think the
mhm,
community in which a lot of us live in, we're ignorant also. We
mhm,
have a community that was not educated on what autism was. And that's what I saw here. And
right,
I started looking at educating the community
mhm,
because I truly believe if we can educate others, we can stop out the ignorance that is associated with it. If we
right,
stop it out, we can gain the acceptance. If we gain the acceptance, because these
mhm,
families need help. They really need a
yeah,
lot of help. And we
yeah,
can get the supports. And I think I believe we all have a purpose in life.
right,
And, I was working in the banking industry. I was there for almost 25 years. That was my career job. At
right,
that time, I knew I couldn't work 16-hour workdays anymore. I had to give it up.
yeah,
But I didn't know. What I did know is I needed a job because I
mhm,
still had to work and pay bills. But I
right,
needed a job that would give me the days and the nights I needed to be home with him. And teaching was the only thing I could think about because it
right,
would have also given me an opportunity to learn more about children on the autism spectrum. So
right,
in the 80s, when I started in the banking industry, I didn't need a degree
mhm,
to work. So I worked myself up into managerial positions in the banking. But when it was time for me to decide that I wanted to be a teacher, I didn't
mhm,
have a degree.
right,
At 40 years old, getting the diagnosis that my son was now, well, back then they call it persuasive developmental delay, not
mhm,
otherwise specified. I was
right,
told that he still had a window of opportunity at 2.5 to still develop. But
mhm,
I got this news in September. July, I found out that my father had terminal cancer and he
oh,
only had 6 months to live. And then
oh,
I decided to go back to school all in within the 3, 4 month period.
wow,
And I went back and I got my bachelor's degree in business management and marketing. And here I was ready to go into a classroom and teach. Once
right,
I got into the classroom, I saw that so much more was needed outside of the classroom. I mean,
mm, yeah,
what I learned in school was just one piece of our puzzle, and
mm,
families needed more support outside of the classroom. And that's what really kind of said, Nadine, go on a leap of faith. I had so many signs from God
mm,
that this was my purpose. I didn't know it at that time, but
yeah,
I learned that it was, and it is. It's my
yeah.
purpose.
Well, that's exactly what I was just about to ask you. Like, what do you think was that that final push that pushed you to actually start Nassan's place? Like what, was it like a breaking point? Was it a breakthrough? Was it a sign, like you said, that actually pushed you into to starting? Because I know your son is the inspiration behind it, but to actually go into action, to actually to start Nassan's place.
There was a lot of things that cultivated me to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, it took 3 years to finally decide to commit to it because it's a huge undertaking. I think
Yeah.
the final nail in that coffin, so to speak, I
Mm-hmm.
remember going to an event where one of my daughters was getting an award. She went to a program called the Better Chance.
Okay.
It's a school, it's a program, it's a national program that takes children from, urban inner cities and give them an affluent or boarding school experience. And she got the top honor that a scholar could get that year. And I remember going over to Cipriani's over in New York, and we
Mm-hmm.
literally were sitting at the table with the CEO of American Express, Ken Chenault, at that time. And my daughter was going up to say her speech. I had no idea what was in her speech, but
Mm-hmm.
talked about her journey, through boarding school, now going off to her dream college in California. And one of the things she said before she got off that stage, and this was in June of 2012, she said,
Mm-hmm.
"My dream is to come back home once I graduate and help my mother's dream come true, to build a center that will help children like my brother and families affected by autism get services and resources." I mean, she had a standing ovation. And that,
Right.
I think, was the final nail in that coffin for me, that told me, I can't wait till she finishes college. So needless to say, October of 2012, that same year, Nassan's Place was incorporated as a 501c3 nonprofit, and the work began. And I literally started from the ground up in my living room.
Right. Right. Well, you know what? It's it's amazing, being able to just basic things in life we juggle, as far as self-care, um, feeding schedules, or just eating in general, if they need assistance with that. But for you to balance starting an organization like Nassan's Place and balancing still what Nassan's needs are, that like is to be commended. Like, where do you go to be able to pull that strength, to be able to balance it all? I mean, I know there are a lot of families out there that need what you're providing and are grateful, but as far as your day-to-day motivate, like where do you go to pull that, where do you go in order to, like, day to day you got to balance all of this? Like, is there some type of inner, like some people do yoga, some people meditate, some people, just pray, like, because that takes a lot to be able to balance all of that.
It does take a lot. I can tell you, my faith is my biggest strength.
Hmm.
My faith in God, the path that He has set me on.
Hmm.
But Nassan's Place is therapy for me,
Oh.
because one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with is this, honestly speaking. I mean, Nassan was my last child. He's my only son. All of my dreams and my hopes for him, basketball, football, mom, I'm gonna,
Yeah.
I had 3 girls. I
Yeah.
was like, finally, my boy is here.
Right. Right.
And he was the one I had no issues with during my pregnancies. In the previous pregnancies, I had just gestational diabetes. I had toxemia. With him, none of that. He was the biggest one too. He's 9 pounds 15 ounces,
Woo.
and he was my only C-section. Right. So it was like, wow, this is my son.
Mhm.
And all my dreams and everything that I wanted and wished for him. And what they say is we tend to mourn our children. We
Yeah.
mourn the children that we thought we were going to have.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
challenging. It was very challenging. And I hold on to my faith every single day, because I remember a woman telling me when he was first diagnosed, and
Mhm.
she said, "I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to get worse."
Yeah.
She said, "You're going to have some bad days,
Hmm.
you're going to have better days." But
Yeah.
she said, if you get him the supports and the resources that he needs early on, and be consistent with it, you
Yeah.
will have better days. And I got to tell you, I have better days. I
Mm.
try to forget some of those days though, because they were hard.
Yeah.
As a parent, to watch your son go through an involuntary meltdown and you can't touch him, you can't coddle them, to
Right.
watch your child flap his arms and run back and forth, and then a hit, spit, kick, slap, you name it, he did it.
Right.
It was a lot, and I had to keep praying. And I was raised in the church
Mm-hmm.
growing up, because we all had to be raised in the church, especially as being a 60s baby.
Yeah.
But it helped me deal with what I deal with it on a daily basis. And there's days too, Sadie, where I want to give up on Nassan's place, because it's overwhelming trying to raise money, trying to help families, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot. And then God sends me a signal. I'll get a call from a parent saying, "Thank you. Because of you, I'm now getting resources that I didn't know about. Because of you, me and my child can go to a sensory friendly movie and feel comfortable. You know,
Right.
because
Right.
of you, I come out now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's faith, and I think it's important that we all draw on something. But this is therapy, for me as a mom dealing with this, because it's not easy, being an autism mom and watching your child not be atypical of what society deems them to be. So
Yeah. I mean, and I think a lot of times people who, have the neurotypical families and aren't affected by autism in the ways in which we are, everything from birthday parties and stuff that we may not necessarily get invites from circles of friends, that we perhaps ran with. And, it's a different life. I mean, my daughter will be 13 in May. And you know, with social media, you see constantly, the people posting their stuff with their kids turning 13 and things that they're doing, things that they're planning. And it's just a different world for us. I mean, I'm just thankful every day that she is one of the happiest kids that you would ever meet, you know? So it's just that I draw from that, like she's happy, she is happy. No, we're not doing the typical birthday parties and stuff that everyone would. But, she is my baby. She's happy. And like you said, I was raised in the church too. So I'm very faithful, and I just, I'm just thankful every day that she is healthy otherwise, you know what I mean? Because that could be a whole other thing. But, there are a lot of things that we deal with day to day that people don't see. People see me smiling, people see me on, Facebook and on Instagram, like, but there are nights when I ain't even slept that night. You know what I mean? Because, our nights are different, a lot of times. So Kyla doesn't always sleep, And
Clonidine is my best friend, just so you'll know.
what was that?
Clonidine.
Lana, let me write that down.
Let me
Because
just say this. Most autism moms know this by now, and if they don't, they should, if they haven't been able to sleep. Nassan, when you mentioned sleep, for a whole year, literally, Sadie, I barely slept because Nassan had no concept of sleep, until I was introduced to Clonidine. The what is it that you can get over the counter that
because
they have?
melatonin is
Oh
what I
yeah, that was, yeah.
yeah.
That did not work. I mean, I gave him one the first couple of nights, it was good, and after that, it was. But he's been on melatonin. He's been on the Clonidine since he was about 5. It's medicated. It is prescribed, but I can tell you, it's my best friend. He gets to sleep at night. He gets his rest because he needs that.
Yeah.
One night, literally, I dropped the pill. I was trying to crush it because I couldn't find my crusher, and it went into the sink drain. Oh my God. Literally, I didn't have any more pills in the house. He was up until I got that pill the next morning around 10 o'clock. So all day, all night. And I think our children, some of them don't have concept of sleep.
Right.
And today, Nassan had his IEP meeting. And I was in there and I was talking to, the people amongst the call. And I remember saying, I don't remember Nassan ever being sick. My son never had a cold. The only thing that I remember him having is seizures early on, maybe when about 4 or 5, he had seizures. But other than that, he's never had a fever, nothing. And he's almost 16. I was like, oh my God, this is like for real?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because I think Kyla had the flu once, like years ago. But other than that, their child is just like, because even when she did have COVID, was asymptomatic, no symptoms whatsoever, which I was so grateful for. But yeah, like, and that's
Their
why I say,
immune systems are strong.
yeah.
Listen, check with your doctor because it is a prescription, but he's been
Okay.
on it now. I mean, over 10, well, he's almost 17, so almost 11 years. And listen, I tried to wing him off of it, like, maybe I would.
Yeah.
It was about 3:30 in the morning. I was like, okay, we can't do this. So Clonidine is my best friend. And my parents, a lot of them were experiencing the same thing because they had children that were younger than Nassan. And I told them, and they were like me as any other parent. We didn't want to put our children on medication.
Yeah.
That's one thing we don't. But I can tell you that I did. When Nassan was about 5 or 6, his behaviors were uncontrollable. I had to do something, and it took 3 different ones before I finally found the right one, because it's not a one size fit all. But the
Right.
good thing is I was able to wing him off of it.
Okay.
He hasn't had any medication for his behaviors, and I want to say in about 8 years.
Okay.
And that's because of a village. I think it's important that we all need to build a village, and that starts at home. It starts at school. It starts out outside ABA, ABA, OT, speech. All of that's important.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times parents think school is the end of all end. No, school is one piece of our puzzle. We have a responsibility outside of school, but school has a responsibility to make sure our children get the necessary resources while they're there. And that's been a lot of challenges for a lot of our parents.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So with Nassan's place, like what services and what programs do you offer or do you have available for the families or for the kids that are on spectrum?
I can tell you, when I first initially started Nason's place, all
Uh-huh.
I wanted was respite. I needed I needed a place where I can just drop them off for a few hours and Musa. And,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that's what I wanted for other parents. But I remember when I started doing research, because I didn't know how to start a nonprofit, I
Mm.
started looking for organizations that I can go into and maybe see what they were doing. And there was one organization in particular who opened up their doors to me, and
Oh,
they shared, some valuable information. Well, if you want to really get funding, you need recreational, educational. You need to show how it's going to benefit. Respite was only that small piece for the
that's for
parent,
you.
but yeah, that was for me. But we needed to find something for the children as well. And when it was New Horizons, I think they were out of Union, if I'm not mistaken. But they
Okay.
opened up their doors and they educated me a lot, because there
Mhm.
was nothing in my community for me to go to because it didn't exist.
Right.
But Nason's Place has grown over 9 years. We're getting ready to celebrate 9 years from
Wow.
having walks in our community, because I reached out to national organizations to come into our community, and I'm
Mm.
still waiting for them to come in and do a walk.
Yeah.
So I decided to not wait, but to start our own walk. And this year we'll be doing our 8th annual Nason's 5K walk for autism.
Mhm.
Um, and
Now,
it's important that
mhm.
we have the same things that they have in other zip codes. Why can't we? Why can't we have a sensory friendly movie day? And we do. For the
Yeah.
last 8 years, I went to the movie theater. It was a simple ask. You
Right.
know, we were able to get the city of East Orange for the first time ever author an autism safety swim program. And that water is something that's drawn to our children. We don't know why, but that water is something that's drawn. But in
Right.
urban inner cities, a lot of these families couldn't afford swim lessons for their children. It was
Yeah.
a simple ask. I went to the city of East Orange and I said, can you provide an autism swim program?
Hmm.
And they did. They were the first municipality in Essex County to offer a autism full day summer camp that was ran by Nason's Place
Hmm.
for 2 years. Matter of fact, last year we didn't do it because of COVID, but this year I'm proud to say that they're bringing it back, and Nason's Place will run it for them. I think it's important that people understand that we can get the same type of resources for our children as every other children. We have to put in the work, and we have to ask. We have to
Yeah.
hold, yeah. It's
Yeah.
important to hold people in our community accountable. If you're going to have a camp for children atypical, why can't you have one for children
Right.
that have special needs? So over the years, we've been able to provide after school programs, Saturday enrichment programs, and basketball programs, inclusion. I want to say this is so important.
Hmm.
So often the siblings are left out
Yeah.
of the process because we're so focused on the child with autism, we tend to forget the child that's not, and they're left out. All of our programs and services that we provide are inclusive of the siblings as well. For example, this weekend just passed, we took 30 kids away.
I
30.
saw that. I saw the pictures and the videos that people posted online. That is amazing. And it looked like you all had such an amazing time. Your talent show, your outdoor fishing. I saw it
It
all.
was it was amazing. It was the second time we did that. Last year we did it in September, and we did it all through COVID. Um, and the look on the faces of those children were priceless. But listen, the parents dropping them off and saying bye was even more priceless. But it was needed. These parents were overwhelmed. And the good thing that we were able to do, we made it affordable. Um, a program like that, easy for the weekend, $700-800 for these families. I knew they couldn't afford that. We took the cost for that camp from Friday to Sunday was $175.
Wow.
And it took a lot, but we were able to get some support from the state. They've been a huge support, the community, private donations, because it helps us make the cost affordable for these families who normally wouldn't be able to. And we took staff with us. So we took 30 kids, but I had 16 staff members with me. It was more of a 2-to-1 ratio because it's important. The only downside to going to that camp and those kids having an amazing time is I couldn't take all the kids that I wanted to take. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we can't change diapers. We can't chase a child who may run off. We can't deal with behaviors because it may require touching. And the goal was to have as less contact as possible. And I said to myself, I never thought that we would turn a child away because that's my intent. Like Nassan is nonverbal. He's that kid that, we couldn't take. And here I am offering it, but I have to stay within the guidelines. Last year, we offered a full day summer camp for 5 weeks, 3 days a week. We did a Saturday program. We did a after school program. We did a backpack giveaway, holiday toy drive. We gave away toys. We gave away food. We gave away sensory items, technology devices, whatever we could do for these families, we did. And it was important, especially now, because now these children started to regress. So we were able to get it done, and I count my blessings because it wasn't easy for nonprofits last year. We couldn't do our fundraisers. We weren't getting the funding that we needed. So it was very, very challenging, but I'm grateful to all the people who donated to us, who supported us. And I gotta say, through all of that last year, we had not one COVID-related case to any of our events last year.
Right.
I caught COVID this year though, but it had nothing to do with any of the events that we had. And I am committed to make sure that our children are not left out. I'm committed to make sure that they are included in our community and not forgotten.
You know what? You are such a blessing. All the work that you do, and I mean, I know as an autism mom, just balancing home life isn't easy. So for you to take on, the task of, like you said, making sure our children aren't left out, our children are not forgotten, that is just, like you were saying, priceless, for you to be able to do that. And I'm sure all of the moms, because we were talking about a village, and we have been blessed with such a support system, just even like within our families or our home life. And not everybody has that, and some people have households where they have more than one child on the spectrum, and they're having to balance that with maybe just a single parent household, and maybe not having that extended family there to help out. So what you offer and what you're able to do is truly a blessing, and to have the gift, and it is a gift what you have, Nadine, to be able to do the research and find out what you need, and then for people to reach out to you and make donations, like they see it being something that is truly needed in the community. And it is, in these underserved areas. So thank you. I cannot tell you thank you enough. I really can't. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. And people's like, why are you always posting pictures and why you always I have to share. I need people to understand that the work that we do is so valuable and so impactful. But if people don't see it, how could they truly understand it or appreciate it? And not for nothing too, you want to know where your dollars are going. So often we donate to organizations and we really don't know where the funding goes. I
Yeah.
tell people, please do your research. Um, find out where your dollars go. You know,
Right.
so often the local nonprofits like Nasson's Place, who are grassroots organizations who are out here on the ground doing the work, we're
Yeah.
left out of getting the big bucks and the big dollars. And then that money never trickles back down to us. And it's a struggle for us to try to stay afloat. Our children matter. As I said earlier, zip code should never be a reason a child goes without much needed resources that will make them be productive in their communities and reach their full potential. And I am committed to continuing this journey and making sure that I can do what I can to help as many families along this way. Because we talk about a village, and I remember you talking about birthday parties. Our kids now get invited to birthday parties, right? We have our own village. They come
Yeah.
out, they have play dates now. I mean, just to
Uh-huh.
see some of the relationships that
Right.
have been built through Nasson's Place, and
Yeah.
all because of my son. I used to ask God, why did you choose my only child? And I had to get out of that because he gave his only begotten son. We all have a purpose in life, and sometimes he uses us in ways we don't even realize.
Right.
But we get our voices out, whether it's through supporting others, it's sharing others, or helping. I'll tell anyone, if you know someone who has a child on the autism spectrum, reach out, because
Yeah.
it makes a difference. It truly does.
Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do for everyone who is watching, I'm going to put all of the information for Nasson's Place down there so that you can see. Just go click around the website and see what they're doing. And for those who are in the area, you can actually visit and see, like she was saying, where the donations are going and what it is that they're doing in the community and why it is so important. And even more importantly, you can donate, because with all the work that Nadine's doing, it takes funding in order to make, a lot of this happen. And it is important to donate. So I will include all of the information below, the website, and I'll actually include some pictures throughout, the video so that you can see what it is that Nassan's Place is doing, and just to be a part of something like that, be able to donate to it and say that you're a part of it, is a wonderful thing. So I am just so glad that we connected.
I am too, because I admire the work that you've done. I mean, I heard about you for years and your Pamper Me event, and it seemed like every time I wanted to attend, I couldn't. I know we even sponsored a couple of parents to go to.
Yeah.
You know, Women like you and autism moms, I call you guys sheroes. We are sheroes along this journey called autism, and I am so truly blessed to have had the opportunity to meet some amazing sheroes along this journey called autism. And I call my autism mom sheroes because we're living this every single day. And you said it earlier, people don't know what we go through once those doors are closed, but you still find time in your busy schedule and all that you do to find time to pamper our mothers and give us an opportunity to have that stress-free day. So, thank you for that.
No, you know what? And speaking of pampering, we are still looking for those who are watching this video. There's an event that is coming up that Nadine is hosting, and I am actually going to partner with her on these pamper bags. We need some gift bags for these moms, because y'all done heard us talk about what the day to day is. So if anybody needs some pampering, it's these autism moms. So we are still looking for donations of items to contribute to the pamper bags. And I said in a video that I posted earlier today on Instagram, if your business is a car detailing business, but you still want to donate some face masks or something to these bags, you feel free to do that. You can include your business card with it if you want to. That's fine. But don't let what your business is keep you from, donating to these bags, because we really do want to make this day as special as possible. And we're always looking for any assistance, any help, and we'll be appreciative of anything you can do. So I'll put all the information, for you to contact me so that you can donate to those, because like I said, we still looking.
Yes, we are. And I just want to mention one thing too, Sadie. We actually have two events this year that we're doing for our autism moms. One is our Pamper Me Day,
Mm-hmm.
which is a day where parents, caregivers, moms, educators, we throw them all in because it takes a village. We
Yeah.
have facials, we have massages, we
Mhm.
have mimosas and sangria, and we have a good time and we just exhale. That event is May. We usually do that around Mother's Day. This
Okay.
year, for the Pamper Me bags that you're talking about, I wanted to do something more. COVID opened my eyes to so much more. And
Mhm.
one of the things that opened my eyes to that a lot of our parents were de-stressed. We were stressed out
Oh,
because of the overwhelmingness of COVID.
mhm.
So I decided to come up with something that I thought would be an empowering day of inspiration. But who better to inspire autism moms than other autism moms like yourself, who
Right.
still have careers, who are
Mhm.
still doing their business, and who are still beautiful and able to go out and able
Mhm.
to live their lives. But, I think some women have gotten to the point where they don't think they can live anymore. They have
Mhm.
a dream. Yeah, they have dreams that they want to start their own business. They
Right.
may not be able to go back to work for whatever reason, but they may have an idea. Who
Yeah.
better to empower them than strong sheroes like yourself, myself, and others that I'm going to have that day? And I hope when we leave that day, that luncheon is the Nassan's place, Autism Women Empowerment Luncheon,
Mhm.
that day that we will also have autism moms who would love to mentor a mom who just needs some guidance and some assistance through her journey. And I think it's important that we build a sisterhood, a network, so that we can be there. The
Mhm.
goal is to have autism moms who have businesses, who may have wrote a book, who's selling
Right.
candles or oil, to have a
Mhm.
table set up. Let's share your platform. A lot of them don't know how. Nassan's
Right.
place is going to give you that platform, but you're going to be inspired that day by amazing women who are living their lives, on their own terms and still raising their children.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
excited about that. I really am.
I am too. I'm just excited to hear everyone else's story, their journey, and how we are still living our lives. And it is important, for us to share that with other autism moms that may not see, like, because sometimes you are really so caught up in what it is that you think, that you need to be for your child. But what's also important is for you to be you, and be able to live your life, because that's going to make you happy, and that creates a happier home for your child, less frustration, because you're not so pent up and just doing the day to day. You also have a life. You feel like an individual, and that's so important to be able to get across to these moms. It doesn't make you less. Like I always say, the day that autism entered my life did not make me less of a woman. Did not make me feel like I had any less desires of feeling like a woman. You know what I mean? So it's important to let them know that they can still live their life and still be that amazing autism mom. So
Yeah,
um,
and and I'm gonna share one more thing, and then I'm gonna be quiet. I remember a mom coming to our Pamper Me Day last year. She's a
mhm.
mother of three kids, four, but two on the autism spectrum,
Okay.
and she had never been to a Pamper Me Day, and
Mhm.
she wrote something on Facebook, and it resonated, and it stayed in my heart. She
Mhm.
said, you know, I didn't think anyone cared about me and my children. She said,
Mhm.
but Miss Nadine, you showed me that you care about us. And she said, being at this Pamper Me Day made me feel like I was on top of the world. I
Wow.
was like, wow.
Wow.
Literally, a gesture, just wanting to give that mom who, and she said she had never had a facial, she never had a massage, you
Mhm.
know, a lot of things that we take for granted that we've done, others haven't. And all that could resonate with me is she felt like she was on top of the world being
Right.
in that environment. And you got family, you got women of all economic, social, ethical ethic
Yeah.
background. I mean, because autism doesn't discriminate,
No.
you know, and it's important for us to come together, and
Mm.
and we came together. I mean, that was an amazing day last year through COVID. We had
Yeah.
an amazing day, and it was just autism moms. We were sharing each other's stories, and we were
Yeah.
laughing, we were crying all at the same time, but
Mm.
we understood each other, and that
Yeah.
was important.
Yeah, that is important when you can get with other autism moms and there's no judgment. There's
Hmm.
no judgment, and everyone's there to support and you hear the stories and then some may be able to have suggestions for you that, maybe you having trouble having, just like just now, this chlorine, I wrote it down. I wrote it down.
Nadine, you got to get it.
I wrote it down. So, just being able to have those conversations and exchanges, like it goes, and you do feel like you're on top of the world. You're not alone. You're not alone. And okay, girl, we could sit here and talk. Like the first time, I gotta let y'all know, first time I spoke with Nadine, I think we're on the phone for like an hour and a half.
That's what autism moms do. We talk.
Yes, yes, yes. So again, Nadine, thank you so much for joining me here on this show. I mean, like I said, it is April Autism Awareness Month, but this is all day, every day for for us. But just to be able to spread that awareness and share this with everyone, with the world, to let them know this is kind of what, a peek inside our lives. And now you see kind of what, our communities need and what, and what we're in need of. So again, I will include all of Nassan's place information down below so that you can go and donate. I ain't gonna, mince words. Donate. Donate.
Donations help us help these families. It really does. And the one thing I will tell you, Sadie, when they come to the Pamper Me Day and the
Mhm.
women's luncheon, we
Mhm.
don't charge the autism moms. We get
Okay.
sponsorship. So that's why it's important, because
That's
as we know, everything costs.
Yeah.
So if we can get, the donations, sponsorships, it makes a difference. And that's going to be a powerful day. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about all of the amazing women who are going to speak that day, and you're going to change lives. You're literally going to change lives that day. I can see it already. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. So again, I will include all the information down below, and as well as anything else as far as any upcoming dates or events that you have going on, we'll include that as well. And again, Nadine, thank you so much. You all make sure you follow her on their Instagram page, Nassan's Place. I'll actually include that Instagram handle as well. And if you have not subscribed here to Sadie Says It All, make sure you subscribe. I can't even talk today. I'm sorry, y'all. Make sure you subscribe, because I will continue to bring you awesome women like Nadine and women that are running their own businesses and just being an inspiration to everyone around them. That's what we're about here, positivity. Okay. So I will yeah, I guess I'll just leave you with that. So thank you all so much. And
Thank you, Sadie.
thank you. See y'all next time. Bye.